Hello, and first, a revolutionary new scheme of protecting endangered animals.
Scientists at the Institute of Zoology based at London Zoo are building up a database of DNA from more than 20,000 animals. It's hoped the chemical information will tell them more about the animals and so improve their chances of survival. Tim Lavelle reports.
It looks like a scene from Animal Hospital, except this endangered Chinese alligator isn't ill. But the blood it's about to give could ensure the future survival of the species.
If you can just pull it back a little bit. I will need one person just to hold the tail still when I do this.
In the blood is DNA, the microscopic chemical pattern which decides what we're like and which is different in every living thing. Once it's been extracted and analysed, the DNA is stored with thousands of other samples in deep freezers in the zoo's basement. The scientist in charge of the database says the DNA being stored gives information about animal behaviour, so they can both find new ways of protecting them and build a huge archive of the animal kingdom for use in the future.
We need to understand the relationships and distinctiveness of these different endangered species. We need to understand the genetic variation within their populations. And we need to understand how related individuals are to each other and who is the parent of whom.
Another animal, a South American coati, gets ready to give its DNA sample, this time taken from its fur. Although recreating animals as in Jurassic Park isn't yet possible, scientists say it can never be ruled out.
At the moment, coatis like Orinoco are very much alive and well. But if they ever did become endangered, it's hoped information from the DNA databank could be used to help save the species. This is Tim Lavelle for Newsround at London Zoo.
Other news, huge forest fires are causing Mexico's worst environmental crisis for 70 years. In some cities, pollution from the smoke is so bad that children have been advised to stay inside. And in Mexico City, 1/3 of all cars have been ordered off the road.
Scotland's first-choice goalkeeper for the World Cup, Andy Gorham, has retired from international football just 2 weeks before the World Cup. The sudden decision comes after newspaper reports about his personal life.
And the world's biggest cruise ship has set off on its first voyage today from Turkey. The Grand Princess costs nearly £300 million and has 5 swimming pools, an art gallery and even its own golf course.
World's oldest and rarest forests are being destroyed for timber. That warning comes from environmentalists in Canada. However, the Canadian government says it is preserving large parts of the forest, which stretches from Vancouver to the Alaskan border. The BBC's environment correspondent Robert Piggott reports.
Temperate rainforest is found in cooler climates than tropical rainforest, but it produces more wood and contains a large number of different birds and animals. The richest forest is in coastal river valleys, and it's this which the logging companies are cutting down most rapidly.
I've witnessed 15 intact river valleys that have now become the domain of industrial forestry, clear-cut logging. And I've also seen the grizzly bears disappear and the salmon are in collapse in those systems.
From the air, the areas that have already been logged are easy to see. The forest on the coast of British Columbia took thousands of years to evolve, and some of the trees in it were growing when William the Conqueror invaded Britain. Europe is one of the biggest markets for wood from British Columbia's rainforest, and within Europe the United Kingdom consumes the most. That means that wood from this 300-year-old 40-ton red cedar, 9 feet across, could end up in Britain, in conservatories, garden furniture or in a fence. The timber companies say they follow a strict forestry code, which requires that they stop soil washing away and leave some of the original forest, especially along streams. Environmentalists claim that replanted forest breeds only a small fraction of the different kinds of plants and animals found in ancient forest, and that logging often stops salmon from breeding. If that happens, even the wildlife in the sea, including dolphins, whales and seabirds, could also be affected by logging. Robert Piggott for Newsround in British Columbia.
Astronomers are celebrating the first pictures from space to be taken by the world's biggest telescope. It'll be used to look for conditions that might support life on other planets. The new observatory has been built in the desert in northern Chile. The BBC science correspondent James Wilkinson reports for Newsround.
High on a mountain top in Chile, scientists have built the world's largest telescope. It's really 4 telescopes, but when they're all acting together, they behave as though they were just one very big telescope. Today, scientists revealed its first pictures. This huge star is coming to the end of its life and giving off clouds of hydrogen. This picture of dust shows young stars forming. And this shows one of the brightest stars in our own galaxy, the Milky Way. The man in charge of the telescope says in future some major discoveries are expected.
The astronomers, when they will start to come here in April next year, they will find new way to do astronomy. They will be able to see things that they've not been able to see before.
The key part of any telescope is its mirror. Molten glass is shaped into a curve. Then it's polished to a brilliant shine. The mirror is so big it can collect very faint light from distant parts of the sky and focus it into a picture. In future, when all 4 mirrors are working, scientists hope to identify planets round other stars. The telescope may even be able to detect if conditions on those planets are right for life to have started there. The answer to that, though, won't be available for several years yet.
And finally, a group of electric cars went on show today to try to convince people that they're the future of road travel. And another car of the future is being road tested. It runs off batteries and a petrol engine. Here's more from Lizo.
There was a time when all electric vehicles looked like this, shaped like a milk float and just as fast. Then came the more unusual look, battery power for the single person. Today, some of the latest designs are on show in an effort to persuade people to make the change to electric. But for those who aren't sure whether to make a complete switch, a car's being tested in Europe that has the best of both worlds. It looks like a normal car, but it's neither a standard petrol-based one nor electric. It's a mixture of both, a so-called hybrid vehicle. The secret of its success lies under the bonnet. There's a petrol engine on the left and an electric motor alongside it, with a clever box of electronic tricks on top that tells the wheels which one to draw power from for greatest efficiency. And when the batteries aren't running the car, they're being charged up by the petrol engine, extending their life. The makers say that the new car should go on sale in Europe within the next 2 years.
And you can see more on that car on tomorrow as well, this evening at 7:30 on BBC One. But that's it from us.
Join us again tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.